Hello, this is Michael, atheist and alcoholic. I am attending 90 AA meetings in 90 days. Nothing discussed in these videos will ever undermine the anonymity of AA. So today was day 38, and the topic of the meeting was on openness, willingness, and honesty. And writing about openness, willingness, and honesty is an assignment that you're given prior to initiating the 12 steps. And that's an assignment I actually did a couple years back. And I'm going to get into part of that momentarily. My share included that I stopped believing in God around the same time as Santa Claus, and I don't mean that to be insulting. Simply that, so far as I can recall, when I learned that Santa Claus wasn't real, I wasn't pissed off about it. It was just pretend, and that was okay. And I just kind of put God in that same category because it made sense to me. With that being the case, with no God to forgive me for the shitty things I do, I have to fucking live with them. So, through trial and error, doing a lot of shitty things through childhood and adolescence, I came to realize I feel better if I don't do shitty things, including lying. Honesty became a fundamental virtue for me. And the assignment I was given a couple years back read, I want you to write about honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness, and what those words mean to you. How do you think they apply to recovery and anything else that comes to mind? I think this was actually NA, but I imagine the AA assignment is almost identical or identical. So I wrote, to me, honesty means living in such a way that others can trust that you believe what you say and that you operate without an agenda. Without an agenda. The opposite is to rob another of an accurate representation of the world as best you see it, and to instill distrust and suspicion as a rule. I claim to hold honesty as a core value, and honesty was an integral part of my identity. Susie, my better half, would tell others Mike doesn't lie. I would stubbornly tell the truth in circumstances in which doing so was certain to make my life more difficult. Susie doesn't tell people that anymore. She doesn't tell people that because I've lied to her about my drinking so many times. I was devastated when I realized that I allowed my addiction to rob me of an integral part of my identity and a core value. And yet I did it again and again and again. A fundamental part of my recovery is regaining this aspect of my identity, of rebuilding trust. So yeah, when Susie couldn't say that anymore, that fucking sucked. And, I obviously earned that. So I hope one day she can say that again. It's been 2 years since I've drank, but I've made it 3. So, if she goes out of town or something, I can't fault her for worrying. Or always in the back of her mind wondering, is he fucking hiding it and just getting away with it till he doesn't? Like, before. But I'm hoping in time that will be regained. Regarding openness and willingness, rather than getting into what I wrote, I'm going to go back to the big book. And what are we at here? So from chapter 4 in the big book, the author writes, they said God made these things possible, and we only smiled. We had seen spiritual release, but liked to tell ourselves it wasn't true. Actually, we were fooling ourselves, for deep down in every man, woman, and child is the fundamental idea of God. It may be obscured by calamity, by pomp, by worship of other things, but in some form or another, it is there. For faith in a power greater than ourselves and miraculous demonstrations of that power in human lives are facts, as old as man himself. we finally saw that faith in some kind of God was part of our makeup, just as much as the feeling we have for a friend. I can see my fucking friend. Sometimes we had to search fearlessly, but he was there. He was as much a fact as we were. We found the great reality deep down within us. In the last analysis, it is only there that he may be found. It was so with us. I fucking can't. I want to be open and willing in this program, but I mean, so far as I can tell, that's just brainwashing. There's no real argument there. Again, as I've said over and over again, just making the argument, hey, if you can pretend for just pretend your life is in fucking shambles. I know you're an atheist, you don't really believe in anything, but if you can just pretend to give yourself over to a higher power, it's worked for a bunch of other people, you got nothing to fucking lose by trying it. I could be open and willing to that. And that, to be fair, that's what a lot of people in the program say. I think NA is more in line with that. And I know there are many iterations of AA, of the 12 steps. There's Buddhist ones and secular ones. But this is the book. It's their book, and I don't know how to reconcile it. I'm gonna keep pushing forward, keep doing the meetings. I am hoping that I will be able to start the 12 steps before the 90 days are up, but it's been difficult to manage time-wise, just making it to the meetings and making these videos as terrible as they are. But yeah, so that's all I have for tonight. Thank you guys, and I'll see you here again tomorrow.